There is a man you probably know. Maybe it is your neighbor. Maybe it is your brother. Maybe, if you are being honest, it is you. His car sits in the driveway with a cracked windshield he has been meaning to fix for 4 months. There is a fast food bag on the back seat from sometime in February. The oil light has been on for 3 weeks, he knows. He is not worried, but walk into his garage. That motorcycle, a 2003 Harley Sportster with 60,000 miles on it, is covered with a fitted cloth cover. The chrome is polished. The chain is lubricated on a schedule. He knows the tire pressure by memory. He noticed a scratch last Tuesday that is smaller than a fingernail, and he has already ordered the touch-up paint. Same man. Same hands. Completely different relationship. And here is what nobody around him understands. This is not laziness. This is not inconsistency. What you are watching is one of the most revealing psychological patterns a person can display. And once you understand what it actually means, you will never see it the same way again. Let's start with what psychology calls identity objects. Not everything we own carries the same psychological weight. Some things we use. Some things we are. The car gets you to work. It carries groceries. It sits in traffic. It belongs to the functional layer of life, the part that runs on obligation and routine. The motorcycle is different. The motorcycle was a choice. A deliberate, slightly irrational, completely personal choice. Nobody needed a motorcycle. Nobody's wife suggested it. Nobody's job required it. He wanted it. He chose it. And the moment a person chooses something purely for themselves, not for convenience, not for practicality, not for anyone else, and that object enters a completely different psychological category. It stops being a tool. It becomes an extension of identity. Research on object attachment shows that items tied to personal choice and personal experience are processed by the brain differently than utility objects. They activate regions associated with self-concept, the same areas that light up when people think about who they are, what they value, and how they want to be seen. His car is what he has to have. His motorcycle is who he gets to be. Now here is the second layer, and this one surprises people. The man who ignores his car but obsesses over his motorcycle is not neglecting responsibility. He is protecting something rare. Think about the texture of his week. Monday through Friday he wakes up when the alarm tells him to. He drives the route he always drives. He sits in meetings he did not choose. He answers to a schedule, a boss, a mortgage, a routine that was largely designed by someone else. His car is part of that world. It fits perfectly inside the life that is managed, obligated, and owed to other people. The motorcycle does not fit in that world at all. You cannot take a conference call on a motorcycle. You cannot eat lunch on a motorcycle. Nobody is waiting for you to arrive on a motorcycle. When he swings a leg over that seat and rolls out of the driveway on a Saturday morning, every single obligation temporarily ceases to exist. There is only the road and the machine and the specific kind of silence that only happens when an engine is loud enough to drown out everything else. Psychologists, who study what they call restorative experiences, the moments that genuinely replenish a person, rather than just pause the drain, consistently find one common element. The experience must feel chosen, not managed. The motorcycle is the only part of his week that belongs entirely to him. Of course, he polishes. There is also something happening at the level of masculine identity that rarely gets named. Directly, modern life offers very few arenas where a man can demonstrate physical competence and receive genuine respect for it. You cannot impress anyone by managing a spreadsheet. Nobody gathers around to watch you answer emails efficiently. But if you know this motorcycle, if you can hear a difference in the exhaust note and diagnose it before it becomes a problem, if you can change your own brake pads and set your own valve clearance, you have mastered something real. Something that cannot be automated. Something that demands actual knowledge of an actual physical system. That mastery is not a small thing psychologically. Research on self-efficacy, the felt sense that your actions produce real outcomes in the real world, shows it is one of the strongest predictors of long-term confidence and life satisfaction. Not income, not status, the specific feeling that you are genuinely competent at something that matters. His car gets serviced at the dealership when the warning light stays on long enough to become inconvenient. His motorcycle gets maintained by him every time, because letting someone else do it would mean giving up the one domain where he is the expert. Here is the part most people miss entirely. The motorcycle also carries risk. Real physical, undeniable risk. And that risk is not a downside he tolerates. For many men, it is precisely the point. Modern life has been almost entirely de-risked. Seatbelts, airbags, parking sensors, lane assist. The car does not ask anything of him. It protects him from his own inattention. The motorcycle demands his full presence every single mile. One moment of distraction has real consequences. And that demand, that insistence on being fully awake and fully engaged, produces something that the rest of his week almost never delivers. Psychologists call it flow, the state of complete absorption in a challenging activity, where self-consciousness disappears and time moves differently. Research by Mihaly. Csikszentmihalyi found that people report their deepest satisfaction not during rest but during moments of full engagement that match their skill level with real challenge. A man who has ridden for 20 years hits that state somewhere, around the 3rd mile of an open road with no traffic and no destination. His car cannot do that. His car is Tuesday. So what does this actually tell us about a person? The man who babies his motorcycle and ignores his car is not disorganized. He is not irresponsible. He has, mostly without realizing it, made a very clear psychological division between the life he maintains and the life he actually lives. The car belongs to the maintained life, the one that runs on schedule and obligation. He keeps it functional because he has to. The motorcycle belongs to the lived life, the one that is his. He keeps it perfect because it is the physical object most connected to who he believes himself to be when nobody is asking anything of him. Watch what a person maintains, beyond what is required, and you will see exactly what they value. Watch what they let slide, and you will see what feels like obligation rather than identity. The cracked windshield on the driveway is not laziness, it is information. If you recognized yourself in this or someone in your life, share this video and tell us in the comments. What is the one thing you maintain with a standard you hold for nothing else? We will see you in the next one.